they were all up there doing shows, so it was a good opportunity for me to kick the book off and get it started. And then one of the other reasons that it took so long was because I transcribed every single word by myself.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I taped every single interview, and they would go on for like more than an hour sometimes, you know.
Sure.
Jackie Martling's was 2 hours. He has a lot of stories, Jackie the Joke Man.
Yeah.
You know, so his was like 2 hours, and then when you play it back, I don't know if you've ever had to transcribe anything, but you could kill yourself. You know? It's like, it's unbelievable because you have to keep going over it. Like every sentence, you play it over and over again to make sure that you get every word right. Mm-hmm. And when people are having a conversation, they don't often stick to the topic. Very often they go off on a tangent.
Yeah, that's
just like I'm doing with you guys. You ask me one question and I wind up in Europe.
It's all good. It's all good.
No, it's like one thought leads you to another thought.
Yeah,
so if you were transcribing this, you'd go out of your mind. It's like I asked him this, and now he's talking about this, and then he's leading into this, and so you have to make sense of that when you're writing the book.
Mm-hmm.
You can't write half a sentence and then switch to another topic. And you also can't call everyone back a million times and be like, what did you mean here? What was the point of this statement? They're not even going to remember what they said.
Yeah.
So I had to fill in parts, and being a comedy writer, it helps, because when you're a comedy writer, you learn to think in the mind of the person that you're writing for.
Mm-hmm.
You have to speak in their voice.
Right.
So that's what happened. I had to fill in stuff, and it took 3 years to do all the interviews and to transcribe all the interviews. That took a very long time. And then it took a year to edit, because after I got all that done, I had 500 pages.
Wow.
And the publisher only wanted 2 pages. No, I'm only kidding. The publisher wanted 250 pages. So I had to cut out half the book, which
so
was crazy, because how do you cut out stories from Gilbert Gottfried and Jerry Seinfeld? Well, actually, Gilbert Gottfried's was easy because the entire interview, he insisted that he had never been at the club. It was the most fun interview that I ever did because he has always been my favorite, and I got to sit with him and riff back and forth, asking him questions, and Richie was getting nauseous because he was paying for lunch, you know. Gilbert insisted on being taken to a restaurant. He was the only one who did. And where did he pick? He picks one of the noisiest restaurants in Manhattan. So how are you supposed to interview someone in a noisy... People are screaming. They're screaming, and I'm supposed to be doing an interview, and it's in a part of town where there's no parking, so Richie had to pay for parking, which in New York is like $50 to park for like an hour. And then he's paying for lunch, and Gilbert is insisting that he had never been at the club. He did say he heard of it. He said, and one time he stood outside where he heard that they were going to build the club, so he stood outside waiting for it to be built, and that he heard that when it was built that it had good electricity. And then he went on to say that he heard that they had one chair, and the comics took turns sitting in that chair. So needless to say, it was like a really fun interview. Richie was getting nauseous because I couldn't get him to say one thing about the club. The whole interview was complete denial that he had ever seen or been there. And I wish you could have seen the look on Richie's face. It was amazing.